Welcome to the first episode of Sweet Talk. I am your host, slash your stylist, slash your friend, KP, and I just wanted to give a little introduction video as to who I am and what brought me to start this podcast, and also to just give a little backstory about my history in the beauty industry and why I have so much to say. And I feel like I have that credit because I've been in this for 13 years. I don't really consider myself like one of the seasoned stylists yet. I mean, I guess I am, but I kind of came in at a time where they were like, yeah, I'll say I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of the season and a new stylist. So, my name of my salon is actually called Naissance Hair Studio. And I know a lot of people sometimes look at it and they will see the name. They're like, what does that mean? So Naissance came, I'll say God really truly gave me my business name because I consider God like my business partner. And so I initially was here by KP, and at one point I wanted to rebrand and just kind of start something new. I had a new like vision for my salon and a vision for my business. And here by KP just was not working for me. It was just so simple to me personally. It was very simple. And because of the vision that I had for my business, the name had to kind of resonate and grow with the business. So um I was just brainstorming a lot of names, to be honest. Like I had several many names on a paper that I was writing down. Like I really was just brainstorming. And so one day I decided, you know what, I'm over this. I'm just done with it. Like I'm just gonna do Hair by KP and be done with it. So I get online for something, I get on Google for something, and I look, and there is actually a word of the day. And so I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Like it just popped up. Like it just really was just like right there on the screen. I know that sounds so cliche, but it really was just on the screen. And to this day, I have never seen it, a word of the day, just on the screen like that one was. So it actually said Naissance. It said word of the day, Naissance. And I was like, let me go see what that means. Like it just sparked my interest. So when I went to read uh, when I went to read the definition, it blew me away, and it was just so heaven sent because it just went with exactly how I want my business to be, and again the vision that I have for my business and mission. So, the science means a birth, that of a person, a thing, or an organization. And it just, that was like exactly what it was for me at that moment. Like my business, it's time for it to grow. And then I guess if you want to put it in the aspect of the hair part, like my mission is to always teach my clients about the hair, how to make it grow. Clientele was growing at that time. Like it just all went together, and it looked very simple, simplistic. Like I knew it could grow with my business. And I knew personally, I used to always say I wanted like a hair studio. And in my mind, I wanted it to be like one of those brick loft buildings where, exposed ceiling and the red brick and the beautiful view. Like that's just what I used to always envision when I said hair studio. So that's where the hair studio part came from. So, um, yeah, so that is just a little backstory of my salon and how I came to be in the Science Fair Studio. Now, I have not always wanted to do hair. Like it just wasn't in my deck of cards at all. And I used to just, when I got out of high school, I had enrolled actually in Art Institute of Atlanta. It was Intercontinental, Atlanta Intercontinental University or something like that, AIU. Um, I enrolled there for like fashion marketing or something of that nature because I thoroughly enjoyed like clothes and accessories and styling and just all of those things. So I went to enroll. I enrolled in that school, got accepted, and packed up all my stuff, drove all the way up there. Me and my mom toured the school, did all of those things, only for them to tell me that I still needed something for housing. And I'm like, well, how long have we known this? Like, how long have we known that I needed something for housing? Because I unpacked all my stuff outside in the truck. Like, I was ready to go. So we did all we could, got all the grants that we could. And to this day, now when I think back on it, I really truly believe that it was God. Like, he knew the direction of my life. So he already knew that that wasn't the lane he was trying to send me. And but me not being in Christ yet, I was like hurt. Like like any new high school graduate would be about to go off to college, about to be in Atlanta, like you just think your whole life is planned out. And so I was hurt. I ain't gonna lie. And I ended up coming back and doing like the online classes. That really wasn't working for me. So I just kind of like dropped out, like unenrolled, and decided, like, you know what? I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm just partying. At the time, I was partying, you know, doing other things, hanging out with friends. Actually, like most of my friends had went off to college, and in my hometown, I had met a few friends at a local college at a party, and we all hung out. And so, in the midst of that time, I was just kind of like working. I think I was in and out of like the community college, going back and forth between what I'm gonna do. I think at one point I enrolled for like business marketing or business management or something like that. And I, was going to school for that for a little bit. And I noticed though that at one point I had friends that, again, they were in college, they were doing their thing, they're still partying with me, but they getting their education. I was really the party friend. And so I started noticing like once they came to their senior year, like they're doing finals, they getting their self ready to go to the next step. And I'm like, man, like one day I sat back and I'm like, Kepi, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You just like, what is that commercial? Y'all know the commercial with the college commercial where the guy is like sitting on your couch, not doing nothing. Like that's how I felt at the time. That's exactly how I felt. Like I'm sitting on the couch, not doing nothing. Like no plans, no idea, just partying, asking people when the next party is, and now they just like, hey, yeah, I ain't gonna make it. Got a test, gotta get this turned in. About to graduate, and so um, at one point, that's how that was, and I remember I moved away just for a short period of time, just to get away because I had gotten into some trouble while I was here, and my sister at the time, she lived like out of state. So she was like, look, you come up here so you can kind of get your life together. She, help me get myself together. And so I moved away. And in that time, this is where, when that was happening, I didn't understand, but now I see how the hand of God, how he had his hand in my life at the time. I believe that God isolates us to get us away from our situation sometimes so that he can we can get focused. And it was in that time of isolation, of being away from home, out of the norm, out of my comfort zone, where I realized that I enjoy doing hair. Like I said, I had never, like, besides playing with your dolls, like, I didn't do nobody hair. I wasn't doing people hair in high school and stuff like that. But where I moved, before I left, I remember getting my very first sew in. And I was so amazed. I never knew you could sew hair in. I'm gonna be honest. I never knew you could sew hair in. I used to, we all used to do quick weaves and things like that. And I never knew you could sew your hair in. So when I moved away, and at that time, like again, like that was my first time getting my hair sewn in that way. So I was just like amazed. And when I moved though, didn't know anyone, really didn't have the money to even be going to get anything done, because that was a time where my friends, we were all in college. So I had a friend doing my hair. So I ended up, I think we found like a beauty supply store, and I went to go see about getting my hair done, or not even about getting my hair done. Like I was in there like, what can I do to my hair because it needs to get done, and I'm just gonna have to figure this out myself. And this was probably around 2011. Yeah, 2011, 2012, early in that year. And I remember I just I just went on YouTube, because I said that to say, because I think YouTube had just kind of just hit the surface, got really like a little more popular at the time. So I remember going on YouTube and looking up, because I looked up crochet braids. I just remember getting them as a kid. My mom used to do them, and they just seemed so much easier to do. And there at the time, there was only like one type of crochet braids. If y'all remember, they looked like little noodles. They were way crinkly, and that was the only type of crochet braids they used to have. So I when I heard like crochet braids, that's it. My immediate thought is, I'm not doing that. I don't want that in my head. Like I don't want them in my head. So I uh I did the crochet. Well, actually, I found a video that had this lady had crochet braids like loose hair. So it was like, it looked like her natural hair. And I'm like, that's crochet braids. Like that, it looked, it was crazy. I didn't even know they start like were that innovative yet with that. And so I started doing crochet braids, and then I realized that the beauty supply store didn't have a crochet needle like hook. And I'm like, of course I need that. Like that's what I got to do my hair with. So I ended up like finding another video on YouTube, how to do crochets without a crochet needle. And I came across this video, and this girl did hers, and um she did hers with a hairpin. She showed how to like bend the hairpin to make it look like a crochet needle. So I'm like, now wait a minute, like that's pretty cool. So I went, did that, and I ended up doing my whole head with a crochet braids with hairpin. And I think it was at that moment I knew, okay, I got a little bit of talent. Like I know a little bit of something if I did my own hair. So I didn't immediately go back home, but I'll just skip to that part. Like I basically ended up coming back home, because I realized like this is something I'm actually interested in, and I could go to school for this, because I started kind of doing my research on it. And I came back home and ended up enrolling in school, and immediately I didn't just go straight into school. I think I started just doing people hair, because I was just like, again, I'm back home with a new talent, and also with no money, no job, and having to basically restart back over. And I started doing like mom's hair. I had friends that would let me try stuff on their hair. Shout out to y'all because, oh my goodness, like it was starting out. We all know we start out and it is not the best. So starting out, it was not good. And but I'm thankful that I had people that let me do things on them and practice on them and encourage me to tell me like it looked good. So I started doing that, and I wasn't going to go to cosmetology school because I started picking up some, YouTube University. I started learning some stuff, doing hair out my room, my house, like anything I could, any room I had. I was traveling to people, doing their hair at their house, and all those things. And I eventually had started back working again, I believe, because I know like I do hair after work sometimes, whatever. So I wasn't initially going to go to school for it because I felt like, oh, I already know, I'm already doing what I'm doing. Like, well, I don't need to go to school. But as I started doing more hair, I realized there was a lot I did not know. And so I decided, like, you know what? I'm just going to school. And so ended up going to school, enrolling in school, and it was actually one of the best decisions that I've made because it really did teach me some of the foundational things that has carried me to be a stylist for 13 years now. And so yeah, I got into school, started doing hair even more, and at this point, I met a group of friends at my community school, and we all became close. And one girl in particular, she at the time was working at Sally's, and I I I remember like just asking her like, hey, can you get me an application, put in a good word for me, and I ended up getting a job. And it's like when you telling a story back now, like it makes you so uh in awe of God, of how he was so strategic. He was so strategic because I'm just thinking about out of all the jobs that I could have got, he put me at Sally's. He put me at Sally's. Like, I'm in school for hair, and he gives me a job in the beauty industry technically, because Sally's is a beauty supply store. So anyway, and you'll see why I say it's he's just so strategic, and the people we meet and all of those things, like how he does things, is so strategic when he has a plan for you. So in my time working there, I learned I took in how to I learned so as much as I could about products, color, about customer service, and all of those things. And that's why, like, one of my biggest advice is for people who are coming into this industry, or not even just this industry, but like just trying to venture off to become an entrepreneur. Don't, if your 9 to 5 is something that you can draw something from, like draw from it, take anything you can learn from it, because it is truly eventually setting you up for whatever else you're gonna have. So I was there taking in everything I could learn about different products and just watching what people bought and asking them about what they used. Cause, we had a lot of stylists at the time that will come through, and I'm asking them about the products they're using and how they like it and stuff like that. Cause I'm a student at this time. So, um, I, so I, being at Sally's for about, I was there for a while. I don't know how long it was, but I was there for a while. And again, this is why I say that God is so strategic. So in my time being there, there was one stylist that was a very like well-known stylist in my area, and she had, I had heard of her before. Like, you knew her name, you knew her name. Like here, that's how it was. Like we all had them stylists just like that. And I was coming up on probably like the end of my semester of cosmetology. And I knew a girl that knew this lady, and she was like, "Hey, so and so said if you're looking for a salon, you can come, work under her and shadow her." And I'm like, "What? Like, she, for real?" Like, I was really like excited because I'm like, "Dang, like she one of the best around here." Like, she said that she asked me. So, um, I eventually got in contact with her, and but like I was working there or whatever, and again, that's why I say God is so strategic. I was working there and then started kind of going to the shop to do some of the clients that I had, and went to take my state board exam, passed it. Like, passed it first time. I was so excited about that because if y'all that's been in the state boards, any state board, I'm sure y'all know how much pressure that was for them to be in that room, and you trying to not drop your comb and make sure you sanitize your hands 10 million times and all of those things. Like I was nervous, but by the grace of God, I passed. I was excited, man. I got my license, like I'm good. Um, so yeah, back to I was at the salon, also working at Sally's, and now I'm a licensed hairstylist. So, my clientele is like, as soon as that happened, it's my clientele is growing. Like I'm starting to get clientele even more, and I'm also working at Sally's, but now it's getting to the point like I'm calling in like, hey, I can't even work. I don't overbook myself. I can't work today. Can you put me, I'm calling out of work at this point. And so it was a point in time like where my manager at the time, and to this day, I'll tell her, because we're still like close, we still talk, we still keep in contact. Um, it was at this point where like sometimes we don't understand that God tell us to move, and sometimes he had to like force kick us out of situations or things. So I remember one day we were all working or whatever. We were supposed to be doing something, and we had to go back one on one and talk to the manager. And so it was like a situation where we were supposed to be doing something. We didn't do it while she was gone. So we kind of got in trouble. So we went back to have a conversation. And I remember her saying like, get asking me this and that, this and that. And it's just like, this random, like, I don't even know why you're still here. Like, you just need to go do here. I don't know why you're still here. And most people would probably take offense, but it was so different. It was just like God was speaking through her to tell me like, leave. I'm trying to help you, sis. Like, leave. And I was just like, okay, this is my last day. This is my 2 weeks, I guess. And so ended up leaving, did my 2 weeks and worked my 2 weeks out, and ended up leaving. And it was the scariest thing, y'all. I was so nervous because I, I- this is like steady income. I know I'm getting checked. I'm work, do my hours, I'm getting checked. But there were times before where, like, I may go from 5 clients to like one or none at all that day. That was really common in my early times. So I was like, man, like this is so scary, but I'm just gonna do it. Like I gotta do it. I at the time I think we were living in a house where like my mom, we had this shed in the back of our house, and my mom, it was just a bunch of clothes and stuff back there, and she was just like, I asked her one day like, can I do hair out of here? And she, we set it up. I had salon chair, a mirror, like couch in here. Like for y'all that came to the shed, y'all know, like to this day, I tell people if I can go back to my shed, just give me a sink in there, I'm good. I'm good because I miss that was them was the trenches. That's what we call it. It was trenches. So if y'all was in the trenches, shout out to y'all because y'all really, um, y'all was stuck with me for real. And I think a few clients still come that came back when I was doing hair in there. So shout out to y'all for real. So anyway, I did that and got, to the point where I was at the salon more often. I had quit the job. I had quit my job in salaries and started doing hair. And now this is where I got tested. I I remember the time came where I didn't have but one client. I didn't really have bills at the time because I was still living at home. But I mean, I was used to that steady money and I was buying stuff for myself, buying products and all of that stuff. And I remember when it came time, first time where I didn't have clients and I wasn't making money. I was like, man, see, this is why I should have kept that job. I was like, this is why I should have kept that job. Now I ain't gonna make it. Like, how am I gonna do this? Lord, you told me to leave. This ain't making sense. How you gonna tell me to leave and then you ain't filling up my chair? Like, what is happening? And like now I'm asking God because at the time again I wasn't even in Christ. I think I was still partying out there, whatever. And so I was just so confused and I didn't understand like why did I leave? But it was like now that I look back, God was just trying to see if I could trust him to move. And so, and I thank God, before I could try to run back, he's like, no, I got you. Like, don't go back. I got you. And those clients ended up becoming, I started getting more clientele. And I learned at that time too. I will give stylists, new stylists or up and coming stylists this advice too. I learned in that moment that I couldn't limit myself to just one thing. So I believe my service list, I say that my service list wasn't as long and as it is now. So my service list was just maybe I was doing braids, sew-ins, and I think that might have been it. Like braids and sew-ins. I was doing a lot of that. And it made me realize like, oh, I gotta do some more stuff. I'm trimming and stuff like that, playing in color here and there. But I realized that I couldn't just limit myself to one thing and that I actually had to go and learn some new stuff and invest in my skills. And so I learned a lot going to the hair shows. I might have signed up for a class at a hair show one time, and this was when all the Instagram, I believe, might have started becoming popular, and all of the YouTube hair influencers and stuff like that. Like this was really early on, so I started watching a few videos, getting wherever I could get some knowledge. I also would sit at the salon on my off days and watch the other stylists like do hair and just draw from that too. So I I just drew from where I could and learned as much as I could. I was always open to learning stuff and just get wherever I could go. So fast forward to, you know, I guess now or kind of like a couple years ago when I rebranded and started having kids, started getting married, and life started changing, and I'm still doing hair. Uh, I ended up going to and like I said, fast forward, I'm working in a suite at this point now, and I realized again, I felt like God was telling me to move. At this point, I'm in Christ. So I know it's God. And I'm like, God, like what am I supposed to be doing? Like I knew I always wanted a salon. I was really just trying to figure it out on my own. Felt like I had to have all my ducks in a row, and my perfectionism was just at an all-time high. And so I ended up telling my pastor, I was like, I feel like God's telling me to move. And I don't really know. I just want to make sure it's him. And I want to make sure he telling me that it ain't just me. So we fasted, we prayed. And in the middle of church service one day, this was like probably a few weeks, a month so after we said that, middle of church service, I remember my pastor walking down the aisle. She in the middle of the sermon preaching, and she just stops and said, KP, God said go for it. And I knew exactly what she was talking about. And so I'm crying. And just like any child, I'm like, okay, now I gotta really do it. Like, oh, so you did? Okay, I gotta go now. So, that is where where I am now in my own salon, and have now been here for will be 4 years in July. Oh my gosh. Gosh, time's flying. It'll be 4 years in July. I'll be here in this salon. And I have had some of the best moments in this salon. I met clientele has definitely grown. She has definitely grown. And I've also now created this podcast on here. So I'm excited. I am really excited because it is blowing my mind how God gave me my name and just how it came from here. So again, I don't want to make this too long, which I've already kind of been over my time, but that was just a little quick backstory of how I got to where I am now, who I am as a stylist, who I am as a person, and how my heart is for the people that sit in my chair in this ministry. And also this podcast, Sweet Talk, is going to be just a lot of different conversations that we don't really get to see behind the scenes, or people don't understand what happens behind the scenes of being a stylist. And also, again, like the people that I've met over time, and just been some really amazing women, and who have some really, really amazing stories. And I'm just excited to share. Um, this just feels natural to me because if you know me, I love deep conversations. I love to talk. I, let me say this. I love podcasts because it is making people actually socialize with each other again. Like we ain't just, you know, texting on the phone and nobody's talking to each other. Like podcasts it's bringing back that natural feeling of having a conversation. Like I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait for y'all to hear the topics that I'm gonna have on this podcast, and also the people that I'll have on this podcast. So thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry this was so long-winded, but this is just the backstory of who I am and what this is about. So thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. And I hope you guys come back and become a returning client. So when you come back, go ahead and do that new client form for me and like, share, and subscribe.